I've known Mr. George Ferenz for 2 years now. Coming in as a freshman to Seymour Wright High School, I always look up to him. He always enjoyed his job, and I thought he was one of the coolest teachers ever. So when it came to interview somebody, I thought, why not interview him? He always tells me a bunch of fun stories, so he was the perfect subject. I always thought about him as in my block, but also out of it. Me and him were close, but I didn't know too much about him. I knew very surface level things about him, but I never thought to ask more in-depth questions. This gave me the perfect opportunity. We both walked into school at the same time. He was wearing a green sweater and a pair of brown khakis. I sat down with him to ask him some questions, and this is what he had to say. Where did you grow up?
Hagerstown, Maryland.
What did your father do for a living?
He worked for Honeywell and Soho, which works in partner with NASA. So he sat at a desk all day and communicated with satellites. As a kid, I thought that my dad had a super important job, and then as I grew up, I realized that he was underpaid, overworked, and got no credit for what he did.
Just like you.
Yeah, exactly. My dad was a teacher without knowing it. Now he works for Maryland Public Television, which he works in a radio tower by himself. Well, maybe I think there's one other guy that works with him now. And all he does is fix radio transmitters all day. So his retirement job is his dream job. He loves radios.
And what about your mom?
That's a good question. My mom had a lot of different little odd jobs. I guess she would consider herself like a stay-at-home mom that did like small things on the side. So she would do like temp jobs sometimes, and then other times she was selling things for like Mary Kay, Pampered Chef, oh gosh, she did them all. I hated all of them. And she also worked for, can't remember what the company was called, but there's a specific company in stores like Target and Walmart that do like end caps for like jewelry and stuff, so she was the jewelry lady too.
Nice. What was your childhood like?
Fun. My sister and I got along really well, so we would just always make fun. We'd play with kids in our neighborhood. We were always out and about, which is surprising because I'm so pale. Yeah, we since we were little, I think like since I was like in the second grade, my sister and I got along. Before that, we did not get along, but something clicked. Something in that second grade year, we started getting along.
As little second grade Ferenz, did you want to be a teacher?
Part of me, yes. I always liked helping people, and I wanted a job where I could help people. I knew that I didn't want to be a social worker from an early age because we always did, you know, even when you're little, you always do like the, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said I liked helping people, and someone along the way said social worker, and I said, no. I wanted to either be that or, I mean, I guess everyone goes through like the astronaut, lawyer, whatever. It was either teacher or something in the science field. And I went with music and teacher.
Now that you are a teacher, do you like it?
Yes and no. There are definitely some downsides. And I guess I come from a family of teachers. Not my dad, but my dad's side of the family, his pretty much all of his siblings are teachers. Or in the science field. So I guess I was just living up to what my family does. So all of them enjoyed teaching a lot, and now that they've retired, you know, they're telling me it's worth it, and you just got to see like the full picture. But a lot of things have also changed for teachers. What the classroom looks like now is not what it looked like 10 years ago or 15 years ago when they retired. Well, actually it was like 5 years ago for some of them, but still. So it's just a different world. It's a little scary what teaching might look like in 10 years, but I enjoy my job here at Sea Wright. I love the kids that I work with, and I love that I get to make music.
Do you have any fun teacher stories or memories?
Fun teacher stories or memories? Of course I do. Let me think of a good one that I can be recorded saying. Well, when I was student teaching, there was a little kid. This was first grade, because I had to, when you student teach you for music, you're K through 12, so you typically have to do like elementary and middle or high. So I was at a high school, and then I was at an elementary school, and I did elementary band and general music. But it snowed so much that year I only saw general music like twice. So this was fortunately and unfortunately my first and last time working with this class. They didn't even know they had a student teacher. And we were doing a game where we were singing a song, and I had a music staff, a really big one, across the floor. And for every note that we sang, we were jumping to that letter on the treble clef staff. So it was really fun, and I made a race out of it. And the one kid that won, I still don't know why he did this, because his cooperating teacher said that it never had happened before, but he got to the finish line, said, "I win," and pulled his pants down, and just like sat there like, and like staring at everyone. And at that moment, I knew I was being observed that day, but it was at that moment that my observing teacher walked in and saw that. And so, of course, lovely me just said, "Kid," I honestly don't even remember his name, nor would I say it, but, "Kid, can you please pull your pants up?" And he went, "Oh, okay." Like he had no idea what had just happened. It's pretty great. Yeah, I had to write about that. Like that was one of the things that I had to write about in order to graduate. I could not avoid that observation right up. So I had to write that up and explain how I handled the situation and how it made me feel. The answer is uncomfortable. Yeah, it was pretty great. I think he just got really excited, and in the moment, I think his pants were really loose to begin with, so I think they might have just been going down, so he just helped him out. Not quite sure.
Fantastic. When you're not here being a teacher at school, what are you doing in your free time?
Spending time with my family. I still have some friends, not in the area, but friends from college, so I go back to see them when I can. That's honestly about it. I feel like so much of my time is here that my first year I felt like I lived a double life. Like when I wasn't at C. Milton Wright, I felt like I was a different person. Now I feel like there's only one me, and it is the teacher me.
Well, we appreciate everything you do being a full-time teacher.
Oh, thanks.
And last question, is there anything else you would like to add?
Stay in school, make good choices.
Fantastic.
I don't think so.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ferenz. There you have it, folks. An interview with Mr. George Ferenz. During the process, I learned so much about interviewing, about him, and about me. I found that interviewing was much easier when I didn't focus on the questions. I had my list of questions, but I went off script and just asked what felt natural. Having a conversation was way easier than freaking out about interviewing somebody. I also learned a lot about him. All I knew was that he was a teacher and that he was a fun dude. I didn't know anything about what he did outside of school, about his relationships, about his childhood. I didn't even hear all the stories he had under his belt. I thought I heard every single one of them, but I guess as a teacher, you have so much more to tell. You're just waiting for someone to ask. I learned that I work better in a flexible environment. I came into this project with my list of questions and a very structured way of how I was going to do this interview. But through the process, I learned that that's just not the case all the time. I did my best work when I was off script and when things weren't as planned. I didn't realize that about myself. I guess a little crazy is good once in a while.